All right, do we want to go live now?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, folks. How are you all doing? I don't know who's in the room yet. Let's check our participants. It's just you and me, Amber. We'll give it a second here because we are starting 1 minute early. So, in the meantime, so what are you dressing up today as, Amber?
When we do our introductions, I'll tell you.
You want to tell me during the introduction?
Mm-hmm.
I see. Well, as you can see, Amber here has some goggles, right? She has a white shirt and black gloves. So my guess as to what she is a robot.
Not as good as your tea guest today.
Ouch. Yeah, we'll tell you about my tea guest today when tea time comes around. So if you're not a robot, what are you, Amber?
Shall we get started?
Yeah, we can get started. So I was just seeing if anyone else would join in the chat here.
Well, yeah, I will tell you what I am during our introduction since
All
it's
right.
part of my name.
Oh, there's the Acu. Hey, how's it going? And Mary. Hi, folks. How are you all doing today? See, they like your goggles already.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Science Amber.
And yes, she is a mad scientist. And here's some Reddit.
My hair was very frizzy today because it's really humid, so I was like, we can go with the scientist look.
Yes, yeah. How's our volume? Is everyone all right? Oh, good. Glad you're doing great. All right. We will get started. Oh, doing fine. Doing fine. All right. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to pay my share of an Airbnb until the buyer gives a billing statement? Uh-oh, Amber's phone apparently has its volume on.
I turned it off earlier, but my
Can
mom's
you?
calling. I
Yeah,
don't know. I can't reach it from here though.
yeah. Well, you have to reach it though. You have to get up at least. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh,
Oh, now it's done. Never mind. Amber has to cram back into the chair here. Sorry about that, folks. Unexpected technical difficulty. So our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to pay my share of an Airbnb until the buyer gives a billing statement? And I'm a 30-year-old male, and I'm going to an out-of-state bachelor party for a good friend's wedding. Everything was arranged by the best man, who's a family member of the groom. I don't know him that well myself. The first issue and eyes in the group was that the best man was booking a place without confirming the price and confirming with all of us if we could stay for 3 days. Several people in the group said that they could only stay for 2, and he insisted that they pay the full price. He opted to pick a relatively expensive location at $500 a person. 10 people total. That's a lot of money.
mm-hmm.
I thought that this was weird, but decided to let it go / not say anything and go the full 3 nights. For the second issue, my spouse is going through some medical treatment for an issue, and her doctor said that it was possible that she would need a procedure done the weekend of the trip. We have a toddler at home, so I need to cancel the trip if this happened, and would only get a few days' notice if she needed it or not. I still really wanted to go. I decided to buy some travel insurance. I reached out to the best man and asked him to send me the Airbnb proof of purchase since I need it if I'm going to get reimbursed if I had to cancel. I even explained the reason that I might not be able to go. He refused to send me the Airbnb statement until I paid him everything in full. This set off some red flags for me, and I told him I didn't feel comfortable doing that, and there should be no issue with him sharing the statement. He still refused to send, and I've told him that this is a deal breaker for me and will simply not go if he can't send me the receipt. I feel bad for the other people in the group that they're going to have to pay more now, but it really seems like the best man inflated the cost of the Airbnb to all of us and is trying to turn this money into a money-making scheme at our expense. And there's an update. The groom intervened and got him to send the receipt. He added an extra $250 to the total cost without telling anyone. Pretty much what I expected. I'm going to pay him exactly 1/10 of what he paid and share the receipt with the rest of the group. I have no problem paying extra if someone else bails or if there ends up being some incidental changes or charges, but he needs to show transparency instead of lying about the price. This is some petty grifting BS. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, you're well within your right to know what you're paying for and
Yeah.
to want proof of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this is just like, I mean, he's not even doing a good job at grifting here because, like, OP could see right through it, and it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's scamming us. But this is really bad because, like, you shouldn't be stealing from people to begin with, right? And two, it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's such a gross thing, right? I think it's really just a gross thing. Mary says, not the jerk. And, that's I think this one's pretty straightforward. I think everyone will agree that this is outrageous.
Unless the groom or best man reads this one.
Yeah.
He'll be of the other opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably one person here who's going to disagree. I'm getting used to these kind of tactics. Sheesh, Mary says. Yeah, I know. We have to be cynical in this world of cynics. Or unscrupulous people, rather, not cynics. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not changing my wedding theme? Another wedding theme one. So far we've had, Game of Thrones, we've had the Cats and Harry Potter, we've had our Disney one, I don't even know. Puppets, so many wedding themes. I know this is weird, but I want to know if I'm in the wrong. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I'm getting married on Halloween to my amazing fiance, a 30-year-old male of 2 years. We both have a gothic style. Our home is Adam's Family since we bought an abandoned Victorian-style home. We love horror and creepy things. So, for the wedding, since we met at our city's vampire ball, we decided to do a theme, but more royal and gothic. The wedding is at a castle. I got a custom-made goth wedding dress. My wedding dress is black, a ball gown with a lot of lace details and a corset back. Plus, I'm wearing a lace cape and a black tiara. When I showed a few friends of mine the wedding look, they told me that it's too much and it's really over the top. I was told that I should go with a more traditional since my style freaks out a lot of people and I could tone it down. I told them that I should go and told me that I should go in a more traditional style since I am only getting married once. I told them that I didn't want a traditional wedding. They told me that they won't go because I'm over the top and the wedding is scary. Scary. I told them that they don't have to come, but I'm not changing the theme over a few opinions of my wedding. But am I the jerk and a bridezilla? All right, folks.
Not the jerk.
Not the jerk.
I want to go to this wedding.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Well, Mary says she wants an invite. So, I mean, it sounds like we're all in good company here.
This was my runner-up theme for our wedding.
Yeah.
You know, I love the wedding we had, but
Yeah.
you know, Halloween spooky, that was kind of my other theme. Everything about this sounds so beautiful. Like, I want a black ball gown. That sounds amazing.
I think that their Victorian style house is a
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool theme. I think there are a lot of neat stuff here. And Mary says, I attended a Nightmare Before Christmas wedding. It was awesome. What boring friends, not the jerk.
Yeah, well, their whole argument that like you only get to get married once, you should go traditional. Like, why would you use your only wedding to go traditional if that's not your vibe?
Yeah, well, I
Like,
think they're really trying to push her into something that she doesn't want, and it's because they don't really agree with her aesthetics.
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is good that friends, you know, make sure that if you're making a mistake or something like that, that they kind of interject and are like, hey, look, you might be making a mistake. But I think in this case, it's just a difference of opinions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Acu says, not the jerk, I'd honestly prefer to have this over a traditional wedding. I mean, I think, like, there is you know, I think there's definitely a place for traditional weddings, but I think a lot of people are starting to get away from traditional weddings, and I think that's fine because traditional weddings are good. I'm not saying that
Mm-hmm.
they're bad, but it's nice to have a lot of variety in weddings as well.
Right, and also to me personally, it felt more personal to do something that matched something that I really loved,
Yeah.
and you know, it felt more me than like the same white wedding dress. And again, people are beautiful, look beautiful in white wedding dresses, so
Mm-hmm.
no hate on that. But I just, you know, it's really nice to see some variety and to see personality come out in weddings.
Yeah. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for ostensibly behaving girly during card tournaments with a few specific people? So, I'm a 27-year-old female and I started playing card game Magic the Gathering in my late teens, and I'm good in that. Maybe not a professional player, but definitely one of the best among my friends, most of whom are pretty good in Magic the Gathering too. Magic the Gathering community in my area is heavily masculinized. I often am the only woman there, and I usually have to take twice the same amount of effort as the male players just to be respected. Which is alright, I got used to it, and I'm rather competitive anyways. A few months ago, my town opened a new shop with a board game place, which is also organizes a semi-formal a tournament. I was thrilled to hear that, as I had no opportunity to participate in tournaments since before the pandemic. That the place that I was playing at before unfortunately shut down. When I finally got there go for the first time, there were a few sexist remarks, but nothing unusual. Things changed when I won a match with Josh, an 18 to 20-year-old. He took it really bad. He threw some slurs at me and accused me that he lost because I was distracting him, showing him my boobs, which is ridiculous. I don't even usually have cleavage showing. I hate to flirt with people, and I'm too focused on the game to distract him anyways. Nobody really took him seriously except a few of his friends who tried to rile the atmosphere. But since then, Josh and three of his friends, all males in their 20s, started accusing me to distracting them every occasion when they lost to me, which happens often. I can't refuse to play with them. There's an intergroup ranking, and I can't miss games with other players simply because we don't like each other. It got annoying, so one month I started giving them exactly what they were expecting. I started arriving at the matches, only the ones that I was sure to play off with them, in skimpy, revealing clothings, and acting flirtatious with them in a very exaggerated manner. Think crossover cheap adult worker and femme fatale in a detective's office, but in a very cringe way. I'm still acting 100% normal towards the rest of the guys there. Most of the other players find it hilarious, the shop owners included. But the affected boys get more and more furious and embarrassed, and some of the other people also say I should be more mature than the few guys that barely out of their teens. Well, I'm not that much older than them, maybe 3 to 7 years, and I only started doing this literally after months of bullying, but maybe I crossed the line. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and honestly, I'm not sure why the store isn't doing more to shut down the sexism.
Yeah, I think that is problematic.
Like, I think the way you handled it is fine, but I the community as a whole should come together and kind of tell these guys to, because it's gonna be, if you show up at every meeting, then anytime you use, they're all, these are like, oh, you're too distracting. Like, first of all, if you get distracted, that's on you. You need to be able to focus on your cards. But secondly, like, why isn't someone like official stepping in and being like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
that's not cool. You can't harass the other players.
Yeah, the thing is, like, they're at this venue, and if the owners aren't shutting the stuff down, then I feel like the owners are somewhat culpable for it. And Mary says, I'd be interested in knowing what's involved. Distracting? Should she see some distractions at a poker tournament? Distraction is a legit tactic, not the jerk. OP is a hoot. Maturity is overrated. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think that they're just being sore losers, and I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone can see through it. And it doesn't sound like OP's what they're doing is hurting anything here. So I would have to say that they're definitely not the jerk in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts. That is my thoughts. All right, let's move along to the next letter. Oh, and Jot says, not the jerk, the store owners are probably just as immature as the kids. They might be, they might be. I think, though, sometimes I think in their position, they're probably afraid of driving people away, and so they're more willing to basically turn a blind eye towards the misbehavior because they don't want to lose out on potential revenue. Then I think that so that's kind of how I view it, as they're like, oh well, we're just going to pretend not to see this or do anything about it because we are afraid of our bottom line.
Which
But
isn't a good position in the face
yeah,
of inequity.
I think it's a bad position, so I'm not saying that they're right and justified in that. I'm just saying I don't know if it's an immaturity thing as much as a we don't want to stand up for what's right because we're afraid, which is an unfortunate take. So, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my father-in-law he can starve if he wants because I didn't care? My husband and I, both 26, recently hosted a family dinner to announce our pregnancy. It's important to add that my husband doesn't have a close relationship with his father, but we keep him around because he still has 3 minor siblings that we love and care for. My father-in-law is the type of person that still thinks women should serve men at dinner times. Like, he has to be served first because he's the breadwinner and stuff like that. We usually don't care since we mostly ignore them. However, this time my family was present and we considered that he messed around and found out. My dad is my favorite person in the world. My mom died when I was little, and my dad took care of me and my older sister. They're the only family I have left. At dinner, both my husband and I cook things that we knew our families would like. The first issue started when my father-in-law tried to sit at one of the heads of the table, and my husband said no, that he sat at one end and I at the other. Me with my father and sister to each side, and him with his brothers, so my father-in-law was kind of in the middle and he didn't like it. The second problem, and the which caused all of this, is that everyone was kind of serving themselves. However, my dad has a damaged nerve in his right hand and he struggles when holding spoons, forks, and such. My sister bought him Parkinson's friendly cutlery set that brings around, but the big spoon for serving is still hard for him. So I offered to serve him his plate while my sister served him his drink, and then we all sat down and ate and to chat rather. Well, 3 or 4 minutes later, my father-in-law asks out loud, "Is no one gonna serve me my plate?" And my husband looks at him confused and says, "No, we don't do that here." And my mother-in-law just gets up in a hurry and takes his plate. But my father-in-law says, no, the hostess did it for her father, so she can do it for me. I said, yes, my father who has an injured hand, you're fine. He says that he won't eat, and I just shrugged, and I said that he could starve, and I didn't care. Oh, he leaves with my mother-in-law while everyone agrees with me. My own father said that it was a disrespectful thing to say and that I should apologize for the way I did it. So am I the jerk? All right, folks. What do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, this dude got exactly what was coming to him, to demand that, like, you have to serve me. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
You've got two functional hands. You can serve yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really what is important here is that OP wasn't giving special treatment to her father because he was a man.
Mm-hmm.
She was giving him special treatment because,
Accommodations
yeah,
because for a
accommodations
disability.
for, yeah, exactly like what you're saying.
And this guy, father-in-law, is trying to put OP in her place. Like it's a direct power move, and he thought he could just get away with it.
Yeah, and Mary says, "Not the jerk. We keep him around. Lol. Good grief. What a drama queen. Poor mother-in-law. Was it disrespectful? No. Respect has to be earned." And Aku says, "Not the jerk." Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that this is one of those things where, exactly, respect is earned, right? And he can serve himself. He isn't the one who has a problem. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. All right. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for embarrassing my husband?" So, I'm a 32-year-old female, and my husband, a 35-year-old male, have been together for 8 years, married for 6. My husband has always talked about having kids. We decided that we were ready last year. After months of stress and no result, we went to a doctor and found out that my husband is infertile. He was always wanting to be a father, so this is a big deal for him. We took a few months to process, and he grieved the loss, understandably so. Well, to my surprise, he suggested that we go to a sperm bank. I was a little unsure if trying so soon would be a good idea, but he insisted that neither of us are getting younger, and he was completely okay with things. He had always been pretty blunt with his feelings, good or bad, so I thought, all right. At first, it was. Then we started looking through the book at the descriptions of the donors, and all of a sudden my husband's attitude changed. He demanded to see some sample of the stuff from the shorter men because it's a man thing, and apparently wouldn't be able to love someone else's son that's taller than him living in his house. I stopped the appointment, and we got into a terrible fight on the way home. He apologized, saying that he was just emotional, realizing that it really wouldn't be his son, that the book made it seem real, and we agreed tentatively to start the process again. But throughout the week, he made comments about how I might as well just cheat on him, and snide remarks about how my boss would be happy to put a baby in me. I asked if he was I asked, and he even got jealous of my brother-in-law, and made a very rude comment to him and my sister about how we could swap for a night and get all we wanted. I shut the entire thing down after that, saying that I didn't want to have kids with him when he was acting like this, and maybe never after that. With obligations to visit his family for our birthday dinner, we did. It was alright if he was a slightly cold evening, until his mother asked me to get him a few things back inside. I wasn't surprised to find them complaining about me, but the subject matter shocked me. He told them that our recent marital problems were because that I was infertile due to my old age. I listened as he told his brother on about how he just wasn't sure if I was worth the effort. Wow. And maybe he should try to find someone younger while he still could. They joked about the woman that he could be sleeping with. It was crass, insulting, and deeply embarrassing. It also wasn't true. I was livid. I went back inside and grabbed the car keys, and when they asked why I was crying, I told everyone in the room, all the adults, the truth. I left him there and ignored his calls. When he finally came home, we had the biggest argument of our lives about how I shared such a big insecurity and shamed him to his family. The audacity, the hypocrisy. That his mother cried, and I'm currently staying with my sister, and I think our marriage may be irreparable. I think OP might be right on that.
Mm-hmm.
He says I humiliated him, and I know that I did, but he was perfectly fine lying to humiliate me and claiming that he wanted to leave me. Am I the jerk?
No, you're not the jerk. Like what he did is completely inexcusable.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Like you were just telling the truth because he had this big monologue with his brother, and
yeah,
his entire behavior here, like, it's fine to grieve a loss, but the way he is, like, now treating it, like, definitely don't have a kid, don't be with this man, but
Yeah.
also definitely don't have a kid with him, because it makes it very clear that he wouldn't see a child who's not biologically his as his child, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels almost like he was looking for a fight. And I mean, because who says this kind of stuff anyways? And it's just such a gross situation, you know?
It really is.
And Mary says, Jot says not the jerk, and Mary says, what? Taller than him? Not the jerk, but OP should wait on the whole thing. OP should shop around, but not with a ring on her finger. What a moron. Creepy. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not a good situation at all. And he's really showing his true colors here. Of course not the jerk. This guy is a huge one, though, Aku says. Yeah, I tend to agree. It's just not a good situation. It's pretty gross all around. All right. Do we want to do a tea time? All right, folks. It's tea time. Grab your beverages. I've got some tea here. Amber's got some tea as well, and she's got a joke for us.
Yes. What might you call a buzzing household insect with a noble title?
A buzzing household insect with a noble title. A queen bee. I don't know.
Lord of the Flies.
Oh, Lord of the Flies. that was quite the setup to that joke. Mary says she has mango iced tea here, or mango tea here. That sounds good. It really does. And any guesses as to what tea I have? I'll let people make that guess here.
Brian did not guess his tea today.
So, yeah, what happened is Amber has been lately picking up my tea. And I've been pretty good about it. I've guessed it a few times in a row, right? I've gotten it wrong twice. Today I got it wrong, but spectacularly wrong. First I'm like, oh, Earl Grey. And I guess I'm kind of like spilling the tea here a little bit. Mary says Earl Grey, Lord of the Flies, good one. Queen Bee is good too. Aku says licorice, nope. So, and mint for Amber, yes. Mint definitely, Amber definitely has mint, rather. I was about to call Amber mint. So I guess my first tea, wrong. Guess the second tea, still wrong. And then, I mean, by default, I of course guessed it, but I got it very, very wrong today. And just so you folks know what tea I have mint tea. All right. We'll move along to our next story. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Insisting My Niece is Co-Flower Girl with My Fiance's Niece? So my fiance and I are planning our wedding. She comes from a large family and she has 5 sisters. Most of them have kids. 4 of her sisters are bridesmaids. 1 is serving as the maid of honor. I come from a smaller family, just my parents, my sister, and my niece, Bryn. Bryn is 3 years old and pretty much my best pal. I'm her godfather. I love her to bits. I didn't care when my fiance didn't choose my sister to be a bridesmaid, and likewise, my sister was cool with it. I did feel some sort of way because I have all 4 of my fiance's brother-in-laws in my wedding party at my fiance's request, but ultimately it's her side of the party, so she can do what she wants. Then came time to pick the younger roles in the wedding. Her older nephews are junior groomsmen. The younger is a ring bearer. She only has 1 niece, Aubrey, who is 4. My fiance wants to be a flower girl. I said that's fine, but I also want Bryn to be one. They can walk down the aisle together. It would be super cute. Bryn loves playing with Aubrey, and they get along great. Well, my fiance wants our wedding to be traditional, so there can only be 1 flower girl. I suggested that Bryn could hold a sign or something while Aubrey threw the flowers. My fiance said no, that she can sit with my sister and parents. At this point, I insisted and said that Bryn would be a flower girl. I texted my sister and asked, and she agreed. My fiance got mad and said that it's my day too. Bryn means a great deal to me, and she'll be in the wedding. My fiance and Aubrey's mom are mad at me, saying that I'm stealing Aubrey's spotlight. Am I the jerk? Update. Okay, wow, did not expect this to blow up the way it did. Thank you to everyone who reached out. This morning, my fiance and I sat down to talk about the wedding in general. I brought up Bryn and Aubrey, and my fiance just kept parroting, "It's tradition. Let Aubrey have the spotlight." She shot down compromise after compromise. Aubrey walks first, Bryn blows bubbles or holds a sign, etc. Finally, my fiance was honest. She didn't want Bryn in our wedding because Bryn has Down syndrome. She said that everyone will be looking at her, taking pity, etc. Turns out it wasn't about the spotlight on Aubrey, but my fiance. I told her to go away. I called her ableist and said, "Don't worry, there won't be a spotlight to steal anymore because there's no wedding." I left our apartment, staying at my sister's and playing with Bryn. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from my fiance. Magically, she's ready to compromise now. I need my time, but I'm likely done. Y'all were right. All right, folks. What do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Definitely not the jerk. Like, OP wasn't the jerk before. Like, it's customary to have both people's family in the wedding, but especially now hearing her reasoning, like, that just adds an extra layer of grossness.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so, yeah, definitely not the jerk.
And Aku says, "Does having two flower girls make a wedding not traditional anymore?"
Well, like,
yeah, exactly.
Of all the weddings I've been to, I think only one had flower girls, and they were bubble girls, not flower girls, and two sisters, so, like, yeah.
And then Mary says, "Not the jerk. Seems like this is a lopsided lineup. Says a lot about the fiance. Tell the fiance if she wants a traditional wedding, complete with the groom, that she needs to bend." And oh my god, oh my goodness, update, run.
Yeah, that update, like, it took me from, like, I was already on Opie's side, because it's like, it's your day too, it's not just hers, but then it's like, oh yeah, don't stay with this woman, like, she's not gonna treat your niece well in your relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's such a sad thing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's such an ableist type of attitude here, and it's really unfortunate that she feels that way. But I think OP did the right thing by leaving in this case because it really just wasn't worth it because she's not going to treat Bryn as a person. It seems like she's
Mm-hmm.
going to always be looking down on her, and that's not something that OP needs to have in their family.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not a good situation. All right. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for expecting my partner to let my dog out while he was on staycation?" I'm a 36-year-old female, and my partner Tommy, a 36-year-old male, was home on staycation last week, Monday through Wednesday, meaning he had 5 days off. He was home all day and maybe left the house once or twice to get himself some food, but that was it. I have a dog, Spud, that I got before we were together. They adore each other and it's really sweet. Since Spud is my dog, all of his care and bills are my responsibility. I would never ever ask or expect Tommy to care for him in any way, normally. Tommy literally does nothing to care for my dog aside from snuggle, but that's a two-way street, lol. Anyway, since Spud is normally home alone for about 9 hours each day, I do things to keep him occupied. He normally sleeps, but still. Like hide treats for him to find before I leave, to have a feeder ball out, leave the blinds up so he can people watch the pond and walking trail at our apartment, check in via Blink, leave a YouTube dog video on in the channel. I have to take a drink here. Ugh, sorry folks. I got a tickle in my throat there. You get it. Sometimes I also come home during lunch to let him out and snuggle. I wanted to hire a dog walker, but Tommy said absolutely not since he's scared and we'll get our stuff stolen. We're going to get our stuff stolen. Since Tommy was at home though, I thought it would be nice for him to take the dog out in the middle of the day and let him pee. He didn't on Monday and I brought it up. He said, "No, I won't, because then he'll expect it." Like, what? Tommy thinks because Spud can control himself, he has no problem for 12 hours if necessary. It happened before we got together when the pet center didn't pull through and didn't tell me until I had already paid and left for my day trip. Yes, I got a refund and Spud was still okay. Not ideal. He didn't want to spoil him by letting him out during the day. I told him that he didn't need a full walk, but just a couple of minutes to pee on the lawn and it would make him feel better. He wouldn't even have had to step more than 10 feet away from the apartment door. I reminded him on weekdays that he gets walked and let out a lot more and is still fine during the week. But Tommy still insisted that he didn't care and said that I was acting like a jerk about it. No, I didn't yell or get dramatic. Spud is my dog after all, but am I wrong for hoping that Tommy would help him out and just let him out for 2 minutes to pee? Are any of these edits worth it?
I mean, yes, they tell you what's happening with them now. So.
All right. So, Tommy and I have been dating for almost 3 years, living together for 2. I've had Spud for half a decade. Spud came first and will always. Thank you all for your comments and honesty. It's validating to know that I'm not crazy or a jerk. I've been rethinking my relationship with Tommy over the several issues, but this is likely the final straw. I might rehome Tommy, as another user suggested, but I have been thinking about getting Spud a sibling. About the same age next since I got a better paying career, but if I live alone again, I can have a dog walker. Thank you. Another edit to add, for those of you asking why I had a few Tinder posts, Tommy and I have been struggling for the past few months, and I've tried to going on a break and opening the relationship. We're both aces, and it's not something that we like bringing home. We don't like bringing home STIs. We end up reconciling, but at this point, Tinder might have been a better option. Also, no, we won't be having any kids because, well, we're aces. Tommy saw this. I changed the name, but not my dog, so yeah, what was I expecting? I'm not sure that he follows the sub, but now I know. Ugh. And now I know that he knows my account. Well, I made a dumber decision. He called me at work and wants to talk tonight. Relationship aside, I demanded to hire a dog walker. He said fine, but he's not paying for it. I've never had him pay a single penny towards Spud's care. Giving him a piece of broccoli off your plate doesn't count as feeding him, Tommy. So, like, what? I don't know you thought I would ask him to do in the first place. But at least Spud can go potty breaks during the days that I can't get back on my lunch break. The only thing that I'm worried about is winter. If there's a snowstorm and the walker can't make it, but in that case, hopefully I wouldn't have to go in anyways. I work in a small non-emergency pediatric practice. Honestly, I think our relationship is done at this point, but I'll let you guys know tonight. Thank you to everyone for everything. We still have until March with our lease, but maybe we can be amicable till then. Not sure. I don't know. Maybe I can appeal to the landlord since she's super nice and we live in low-cost living areas. All right. And Jot says, if you're going to live with someone who has a dog, you should probably help with the dog, especially if you get a say in if there's a dog walker or not. And Mary says, not the jerk. If this is the way the boyfriend treats the dog that he adores, how will he treat a human partner? OP should let the boyfriend out and don't let him back in again. He'll expect it. Spoiler alert, boyfriend doesn't like broccoli.
Yeah, so I'm kind of going to echo what everyone else said. And yeah, OP is not the jerk here. Well, and I like how he vetoes the dog walker, but then won't take 2 minutes to let the dog out in the yard. Like, even if the dog walker wasn't on the table, like 2 minutes to let the dog out is such like a low level thing that ideally if you're with someone with a dog, you could do it. Yeah. But especially where he's like, well, no, we can't have a dog walker. It's like, well, you can't expect the dog to just hold it all day.
Yeah, I think that's really unreasonable. Oh, and Aku says, OP should run while the dog is still alive. He's survived without a walk or two. Yeah, and I mean, I think that this is like it's not cool to let a dog go that long without using the bathroom. And I think OP had a reasonable request here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this was like beyond unreasonable or anything like that because it was literally just like 10 minutes out of their day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he wasn't willing to do that, then he needed to be willing to have a dog walker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what everyone kind of agrees on here. So, yeah. Let's move on to our next one. Another wedding one. What's up with all these weddings, Amber?
Hey, you had me pick the order, so
Yeah, Amber loves wedding
I
stories.
do.
So this is probably
You're welcome.
So this is why it's so heavily stacked towards weddings. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for uninviting my sister / maid of honor to my wedding 1 month before? I'm a 26-year-old female and I'm a lesbian woman who's getting married to my fiance, Anna, in about a month in late September. Anna and I have dated for years. We are extremely in love. I come from an extreme religious family who didn't accept it in our university years, but many of my family members eventually grew supportive once realizing that I wouldn't change. I have had to cut a few relationships with cousins or aunts because of their constant frustration to our relationship. But my central family life with my parents and 2 sisters has always been fine. As I mentioned above, I have 2 sisters, Claire and Kim. Kim has always been extremely supportive with open arms. And she herself is bisexual. She isn't yet. I am using anonymous names for this post. Claire, however, is pretty neutral on it. She doesn't talk about my relationship and sometimes changes the topic on it. She was also raised in a religious surrounding. Me and Claire have always been closer than Kim and I even asked her to be my maid of honor alongside one of my best friends, until a few days ago. She never expressed disapproval towards Anna and I's marriage. Well, weeks ago, Kim came up to me and showed me some messages Claire was sending her group chat. Kim was in one of the same group chats as Claire from university. Claire had been chatting between her group saying that this wedding concept was stupid. The messages started off as plain jokes, but eventually got worse into calling me and Anna sinners, and that God would send us to hell to burn there. That's real classy, folks. Real classy. She even had a few messages calling us the F slur, but formed them as jokes like this generation's becoming too accepting, or quoted, I'm the only one in my family who knows what's right anymore. Wow. Upon this, I immediately informed Claire that she wouldn't be showing up at our wedding. Claire was saying that I overreacted because what's happened is in her group chat and her business only. And she never said anything to me. My mom is telling me that I did overreact a bit and just to let Claire calm down. But my dad is on my side along with Kim and Anna. Was I overreacting to a few of her texts? All right, folks. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, not the jerk. I mean, she showed her true colors. Like, it doesn't matter that she didn't say this stuff to your face. On your wedding day, you want to have people up there who support you.
Yeah.
And, how are you going to feel on your wedding day if, the person who's supposed to be your maid of honor, one of the most important people, is like saying that, you're going to go burn for all of eternity? Like, that's not a good thing.
Exactly. Mary says that wedding stories are tight, so she likes your selection. And then also, not the jerk, why do people show up for weddings that they don't wholeheartedly support? And I think that's really the question here, right? It's like, why would she come to a wedding she doesn't support? Why does she want to support a union where she thinks that the 2 people are going to burn in hell for it, right? Which I think is just a absolutely terrible perspective. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're the jerk in this situation. And Acu says, exactly, not the jerk. So I think we're all in agreement on this one. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my mom that her and my dad's ignorance is going to cost them their son? I'm a 20-year-old female, and I've always been close to my brother, a 17-year-old male. We've honestly been best friends since the day he was born, And though he absolutely gets on my nerves, like most brothers do, I still love him more than anything, and I like having him around. When I moved out of our parents at 18, I left my brother with a spare key and told him that he could come over whenever he wanted and needed. Since I moved out, he has been around at my apartment pretty much every day. He and our parents have been arguing a lot, and my apartment has basically become his safe haven when he needs one. Well, lately their arguments have been getting increasingly worse. Most of the conflict has come from our dad, honestly. He's had an issue with the way A dresses and expresses himself. Dad found an eyeshadow palette in A's room a month ago and decided to destroy it in front of him because he doesn't think his son should be wearing makeup. A was really devastated, and so I tried to cheer him up. I bought him some other palettes and told him that he could keep his makeup stuff at my place so that our parents wouldn't find out. We've been doing this for a little while, so all of A's stereotypical feminine belongings, dresses, makeup, etc., are kept in my house for him to have when he comes over. Well, a few days ago, my brother called me crying, saying that our parents were yelling at him for constantly disobeying their rules about things that he's allowed to wear or do. Our dad said some pretty nasty things that I can't actually type out without risking deletion, but it was bad. I ended up going over there and getting my brother so I could drive us both home. He said that he isn't planning on going back for a little while, and I honestly don't blame him. He stopped answering our mom's calls and texts, so she started calling me instead. Well, she told me that I needed to convince my brother to come home and stop enabling all of his things that he's doing that we were raised to disagree with. She thinks that I'm undermining her and my father's authorities by supporting A's choices, and that at the end of the day, they both want what's best for their son. I told her that if they keep bullying their child for trying to be himself, they're going to end up not having a son to worry about because of all the ignorance of theirs have sent people to their graves. And I, for one, will never forgive her if I have to see A's name etched in stone. I guess my mom told her sister what happened because then my aunt texted me saying that I was an awful person for saying such a horrible thing to my mom. And that even if I think that way that my parents are handling this is wrong, A is still a child, and me saying that I blame them if something happened to him was cruel. Apparently so cruel that my mom's been crying ever since. I just want to know if I went too far with my words, or if it was something that my mom needed to hear. Alright, so, yeah, I mean, A turns 18 in less than 4 days. Okay, so I think that's the big important one here. Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and this is absolutely the mom needs to hear because it is very true
Yeah,
that
yeah.
LGBTQ plus youth in unsupportive homes unfortunately do die by
Yeah.
suicide at much higher rates.
Yeah.
And so it's really awesome that he has you, OP, to support him, because having a supportive community is really helpful. But the parents need this wake up call, and if
Yeah.
it's hard to hear, it's better they hear it now.
Exactly. And Siggy says, seriously, screw the parents. How could you treat your child so badly? And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of my philosophy here too. I mean, he's an adult for all intents and purposes at this point in time. He can make his own decisions about what he wants to wear and what not to wear. And even then, like, the parents should be supportive of their child and who they want to be and who they're expressing themselves as. And so I think it's really unfortunate that they're treating this so flippantly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mary says, not the jerk. Dad's escalating, bro is escaping. Do parents ever remember the things that come out of their mouths? OP is cruel, and OP is the same scenario that a grandchild would be exposed to. Yeah. Not the jerk. Everyone needs someone's support. Yeah, exactly. I agree. All right. I think we're probably going to be able to get through one more letter or so.
All
But
right, let's see what the next ones
and the
are.
next ones are telling my sister to adopt kids if she wants them so much.
Let's see if there's a lighter one.
Yeah. Oh, blowing up on a customer if he can rebuild the fence.
Oh, what's the one after that? I think that one was a. Oh, that's a good one to end on.
Not cleaning and embarrassing my brother. All right. This will be the one that we end on. I'm afraid that my voice just is not going to survive too much longer here, but we're at the end anyways. So, am I a jerk for not cleaning and embarrassing my brother. I'm a 21-year-old female, and I live in an apartment with my younger brother, an 18-year-old male, as we go to the same school and college and make things easier for us and our parents. For context, my parents are paying for our college and apartment as long as we're going to school and working for our own groceries. My brother has always had a bit of an ego and loves feeling like he's superior to others, and it was no different when we moved. He took pride in being an adult and the man of the house, and immediately started demanding things a certain way. I ignored him at first, thinking that he would chill out when school started, but it's only gotten worse. Recently, my brother has been complaining about being sick all the time and essentially started treating me like a maid. On top of classes and working most of the week, I'm expected to do all the cooking, cleaning, shopping with my money, drive him around when he needs, and take care of the dog. He's also very particular about how things are done and has a habit of throwing a tantrum if something isn't done right or isn't done or done right. All the while, he spends every day on his computer video chatting with his girlfriend. What makes things worse is that he's still acting like he's the one taking care of everything and working all the time while I'm the lazy one. He doesn't work, go to school, or do anything around the house because he's in too much pain. Well, I finally decided that I had enough and only prioritizing myself. I only cleaned my room, did my dishes, took out my trash, etc. I went as far as to leave a note on his door saying that I was tired of cleaning up after him and that he was in that much pain he needed to go to a doctor. If he ever saw the note, he ignored it as his messes quickly began piling up in the apartment to the point where my room was the only space free of clutter. Things escalated as my parents decided to stop by for a surprise visit this past weekend. My brother had been asleep when they arrived, so he had no chance to try cleaning up his mess or covering for himself. I told them that the whole mess was his and that I would have cleaned it up, but I had been busy the whole week with class and he had been home, so I figured that he would have done it at some point. My parents didn't appreciate this very much and confronted my brother the second he woke up. He tried blaming me at first, but his excuses slipped through and they quickly found out that he had been the one lying to them about everything, including going to school and work. They were furious and told him that he needed to start pulling his own weight and act like a responsible adult, or they would cut him off financially and force him to come home. My brother briefly apologized and started doing more around the house, but is extremely passive aggressive. He's also saying that I'm cruel for almost ruining his chances at being independent. I didn't mean to get him in trouble, but I was tired of being treated like a maid. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, if he wants to be treated like an adult, he needs to act like one.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't almost ruin his chance at being independent. He almost ruined it himself by, not wanting to be an adult with responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what it boils down to here, is that OP was acting like the adult. They were taking care of everything, and it sounds like they were even willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for a little while that he was actually sick. But you can only be sick for so long, and before someone is like, yeah, you need to go to a doctor.
Right, like if you're in so much pain that you can't do anything around the house, then it's time you go to a doctor.
Yeah, and I think that that's really what this boils down to.
And if you're not in pain when you're video chatting with your girlfriend,
yeah,
then that's also a sign.
Yeah, well, I think he kind of exposed himself in a lot of ways, right? So yeah, I just would have a hard time faulting OP. Mary says, not the jerk. Having shared an apartment with a brother of the same ilk, OP's role of using unsung hero is too typical. At least the parents recognize the situation for what it is. Good job, OP. Future sister-in-law will thank you. Let's hope so. Let's hope he cleans up his act. And yeah, sorry you had to deal with a brother who took advantage of your cleaning, Mary. Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hopefully they turned into a good individual. So yeah, I think that's probably about all my voice can take at this point in time. Locking up my valuables. Well, I mean, that one's a little long. I guess we should probably be done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already pushing it. I'm pushing it. All right, folks. I think that's all the time we have for today. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. Thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Oh, and Mary says that he did. Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Glad he cleaned up his act. Thank you all so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun as always. I really appreciate you all joining us here today. It made for a fun Friday evening.
Yes.
So, as always, Mary says this has as always been great fun. I'm glad you enjoyed, Mary. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun too.
It's good. It's always fun.
Mm-hmm. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a great weekend. And yeah, I guess we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
I'll keep this on for a second.
What is everyone doing this weekend?
Yeah, what is everyone doing this weekend? Let us know.
Tomorrow is the Pokemon Go Fest finale.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing Pokemon Go Fest finale stuff tomorrow?
Potentially, yes.
Oh, and Siggy says, have a good month. That was fun. Good night. It was fun. Good month. Same time next month? Yes. Let me actually check when the next one is, because apparently I still have not corrected August. And so it's going to be, let's see. Oh, it's going to be September 30th. So yeah, September 30th. So this of course is wrong. It's instead should say September 30th. I'm just very bad at apparently changing things. So Acu says, thank you for having a nice, thank you guys. Have a nice evening. You too, Acu. Happy Friday. Mary's chilling here in Vegas. So we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.